It's my joy to introduce our next speaker, a great example of a young man who has taken a stance for truth with a lot of love, a lot of logic and compassion, and also a lot of humor, which we really need. Because it's really fun to make fun of the other side. It's great. I like to do it. You like to do it. He likes to do it. So if you've been on social media at all, you've seen his face from his street videos with PragerU, his fearless engagement in confronting our culture, or maybe you've read his national bestseller, How to Win Friends and Influence Enemies. Please help me welcome to the stage Witt. Go get him.
Hello, everyone. Woo! Wow. This is really incredible. Man, I'm so excited to be here in our nation's capital. Usually when I'm doing speeches and I'm talking about DC and I lived in California, I usually just said DC is LA but for ugly people, but you guys are all so beautiful. It doesn't really make sense here. But I'm very excited to be here, and this is my first, I guess you could say, big pro-life summit that I've ever done. So, man, it's been a change in my life for sure. I got my start in the pro-life movement about 8 years ago when I was still in college. This is back in Colorado. And I would go on my campus. I wasn't involved in any sort of organization or anything like that. And the people who cheered for Colorado, don't cheer for Colorado right now. It's not the best place. But I would go on my campus, and I would just go and debate kids about abortion. I would bring pictures of abortions and videos and things like that I would play on my laptop, and I would have kids come up to me on my campus, and I'd just debate them about the facts about why abortion is evil, why it is wrong. These are the kind of things that we have to do. And these people, they'd come up to me, and they'd scream at me and yell at me and tell me how horrible I am. They'd yell expletives at me, but I didn't care. Who cares if these people are yelling at me, or they judge me, or they think I'm some sort of extremist? If you know that the truth is objective, and that abortion is objectively evil, then why does it matter what material things you gain in this world and what other people think about you for the opinions and the facts that you have about it? That is the issue. These people who come up and yell at you for the things that you believe in, or comment on social media when you say that you're pro-life and talk about these things, these people love chaos. That is the left. The left is inherently chaotic at its core. You have Genesis 1:1, God created the heavens and the earth. In this moment, God didn't just create rocks and the air and the material things that we see. He created order. He created order in this moment. This is why the left, this is why these pro-choicers, this is why they hate God. Because God represents order in the world, whereas they love chaos. Talking even about abortion, just normally about abortion, is chaos. And you have these people who come and say, abortion, quote unquote, abortion after birth is okay. There is no other thing to describe that other than chaos. And what are we as Republicans and conservatives doing about this and actually trying to get this fixed? In 2016, we had the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Don't even think about getting abortion outlawed. We couldn't even get Planned Parenthood defunded. Why are we relying on these political leaders to fix these issues for us when we won't actually go out there and try and fix these things ourselves? We have gotten so used to making these different terms like 15 weeks or heartbeat bill and these kinds of things. But if God's law is perfect and he says, do not murder, and we know that the life inside of a womb is a life and should be protected underneath God's law, then why are we ever trying to capitulate to the people who want to find some sort of common ground on these issues? There is no common ground with evil, right? You don't find common ground with evil because as soon as you find common ground with evil, what are you doing? You are sacrificing the truth. We cannot sacrifice the truth. All this is just political football about talking about these different kinds of standards and issues when it comes to being pro-life. But if you are unequivocally pro-life, then you cannot find any sort of common ground with evil. If the devil walked in here right now and sat down next to you, what would you do? Would you welcome him in? Would you talk to him? Would you offer him some coffee? No, of course not. He's the devil. You would shun him from this hall. But for some reason, when we see evil right in front of us, when it comes to the act of abortion, we say, okay, we'll find some common ground. We'll do 15 weeks. We'll do whatever it is and talk to people about it and say that that's good enough. That is no longer good enough. We're always going around and we're looking at the world around us and we're saying, when will the pro-life movement change? When will politics change? When will Joe Biden change? When will our community change? But we're never actually looking at ourselves in the mirror and saying, when will I change? When will I be the person to stand up for the things that I really believe in, the things that I know to be true? So many of us are so scared. The one clap, thank you. Yeah. This person's hearing the message, good. Okay, good. There we go. Thank you. We are absolutely terrified of the things that people are going to think about us. No one here wants to be called an extremist, have people who are their friends, their family, at their university, their workplace, come and say, oh, you're unequivocally pro-life, you're an extremist, you're one of these Nazi people, you're crazy. This happens every single day. I mean, the things that people say about me online, you guys wouldn't believe because I stand up for life and all these types of issues. But that is okay. That is okay. In Exodus, when the Pharaoh went up to the female Israelites and said, if there are any males born among you, cast them into the Nile. What did the female Israelites say? They said, we fear God. They feared God more than what the Pharaoh was going to do to them, what he was going to say about them. And that is the type of mentality that all of us have to live with, that we fear God more than we fear the opinions of other people. Because the reason why we are losing in this fight and that we still have abortion all over America is because we do not fear God as much as we fear the opinions of other people. And I hear people talking about it all the time. They say it's really hard. They say it's so hard, it's so difficult. People are going to hate me for what I believe in. People are going to judge me for what I believe in and standing up for the truth. But that's okay. And also, it's supposed to be hard. No one said it's going to be easy. You hear these people talking about, oh, I'm complaining, it's so difficult for me, it's so difficult for me. God said you will have trials and tribulations. Jesus said this. Your life will be difficult, and you have to call out evil where you see it. It is not supposed to be easy. I mean, I've gone all over the country, spoken hundreds of universities, talked to thousands of students, and I'll ask them about their faith or about being pro-life, and they say, yeah, I guess I'm kind of pro-life, maybe, this sort of thing could work out, or I'm kind of Christian, but I don't really talk about it. You guys know that around the world, there are people who are dying for their faith. We just had Christmas right now. In some places in the world, they're not allowed to celebrate Christmas. In China, they have these underground churches all around the country so that they can practice freely. And then Christians are sent to these concentration camps in China where they are tortured and beaten and told to renounce their faith. And if they do not renounce their faith, they will be killed. And what do these people do? They don't renounce their faith, and they are killed by the CCP. You go to Indonesia, and you have pastors whose heads are cut off and put on spikes outside of their churches. Outside of so that people will say, oh, I'm no longer going to be a Christian, and scare people into doing it. In the Middle East, you have women, Christian women, who have acid that is thrown onto their faces to stop them from being Christian. To stop them. Christian women in the Middle East have acid thrown onto their faces, and Christian businesses are burned to the ground because of their faith. Because of their faith. But this is what happens to people around the world. They are being persecuted and killed and tortured for their faith and saying what they believe in. And you go and ask someone in America why they're pro-life or why they're Christian, and they give you some watered-down answer. And they don't really tell you anything about what they really believe because they're worried about what some kid in their class is going to think about it. Right. How has America got it so weak that this is the way that we live, that we are fine with sacrificing the truth because we want people to like us? The way this gets any better is not through some political means and just talking about it. It is about actually doing something and being that person who stands unequivocally for life. You're not sacrificing truth for anyone or anything, because that is how we continually lose. And I know that right now in America, when we look around and we see the people in this country and what is being done to us, and not just the pro-life movement, but everything that the left and the evil bureaucrats and all these people are doing to us right now, you can feel very hopeless. You can feel very much like there is no hope in America right now. Does that mean that you don't stand up for what is right just because the world is totally against you? No. Of course not. What do you think about the men in Normandy? These brave young men who are about the age of a lot of you boys here. They're on these metal boats going on D-Day to take over, to go and take this beach. And they're scared out of their minds. You know, they open up the door of this boat and their best friend who they've known their whole life gets shot in the head, killed, German machine guns firing down on them. These guys are peeing their pants as they're getting off these boats. There we go. There we go. These young men are peeing their pants getting off these boats. They are frightened. But what do? They got off those boats anyway. And they took that beach. Do you think that these young men had a lot of hope? I don't think so. But they took it anyway. If these young men can die for my right to live, then I have to live fighting for everything that they died for, right? Even when it feels like there is no hope, even when it feels like the entire world is against you, everyone is against you and your classmates and even your family and your best friends, they don't agree with you, it is about the one truth, the objective truth. Abortion is evil at any stage. And if we are going to change this, and if we are going to change this, it is up to all of us to never sacrifice on that truth for the opinions of others or for likes. Because the only way that we win is to actually go out with the intention of winning. Thank you guys so much. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.